One of my guests said no. You should get no.
I think South Africa.
South Africa, yes,
was independent after Zimbabwe.
Okay, we can research that.
Yeah,
okay, the one I have says April 18th, 1980.
Yeah.
So we'll go during the break. During the break, we'll find out. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read what my notes say. From Zimbabwe was the last African state to achieve independence from British colonial rule. No. Do we know when South Africa's independence
92.
was?
Yeah, 92, yes.
92?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Once we figure out the answer, just to be sure, because I'm going to send a nasty letter to the people who own this website that I go to every week, and I'm going to say, yo, you can't be sending me faulty information. What I also found was interesting that I want to talk about later. Zimbabwe has the most currencies in the world. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, because when I was doing my research beforehand, I saw something I said, wow, this is outrageous. How is this even possible? And then when I did more research, more up-to-date research, it got even more outrageous. So we'll be asking some of those questions a little bit later. Also, Zimbabwe has 16 official languages. Do anyone know them all 16?
Oh, we actually spoke about this very briefly. You'd find you've got 16 official languages, but there's sub-languages.
Okay.
I'm going to test these guys, see if they know, because evidently I don't know all of them, so I'm not going to throw them under the bus and see if they know.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the 16 languages?
No, not really, but I think I know the main languages.
Okay. Is there a way we could play a game? Whoever gets the most of the languages right wins.
Okay. What do we win?
You win a dinner at Afrikiko.
Okay.
Hold on.
Right,
I'm sorry. Not at that place. They didn't pay us for sponsorships. My producer's going to say, Rashad, you shouldn't have said that. They didn't pay us for sponsorship. That's my mommy Akon voice. That's my mommy Akon voice. You can't be saying places' names. But we'll sort out a prize. Okay. Yeah. So, how many of the 16 can you name?
Okay. Shona, English, Ndebele,
Tonga.
Oh, so you can only name 2. So hopefully you look okay. We're gonna go to the next person.
I know Chewa,
Kalanga,
Nambia, Shangani, Ndebele.
Say it again.
Ndebele.
It's not on this list. It's in alphabetical order. D.
It's ND.
ND. Hold up. Yes, it's right there.
Then we have Soto.
Twana.
Venda.
Kosa. It begins with an X, right?
Yes.
Kosa. Yeah. Okay. You've done well. You named half, and you didn't name English, so you got more than half.
Oh, because English was already.
Yeah. That's why I said you got 8, and English would have made 9. You know. So you've done well. Yeah. Would you like to take a chance to see the ones that she didn't name?
No, I think she named most of them.
Okay. Here's one that y'all might have missed. That could be easy. They have sign language listed as an official language. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you name sign language?
No, I didn't, but
okay.
I forgot.
No, it's okay. These are things we'll talk about more in detail a little later. I also see they say in Zimbabwe that they believe that mermaids are real. Is that true?
I don't think so. I think it's things which were done in the past. But when Christianity has become a major practice, you'd find this mermaid thing. It's no longer. And the thing is, all the rivers now, people they just use them anyhow. Mm-hmm. Whereas a long time ago, even before our time, they used to really protect their culture, their ancestors, and that's when they really were into this mermaid. But now things are different, because you'd find, as you know, things. The world is changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more folklore.
Yeah.
So, you know, respectfully, if somebody disappeared or somebody drowned, they're not going to say a mermaid took them away. They're really going to investigate what really happened, or try their best to kind of figure out, like, okay, maybe the ship just sunk, hit a rock, or wow. So, also, Zimbabwe is more recently involved in the Olympics. Is that something that's looked upon as far as sports in Zimbabwe, like being actually more involved in the Olympics? Because some of the research I've done said that 2004 and 2008 were really the first Olympics that Zimbabwe were winning gold medals.
I think a long time ago, even when I was young, I know some of our Zimbabwean players like Peter Ndlovu and all that, they were also playing for England.
Okay.
That was a long time ago. And maybe it's something, you know, we would say whether it's political, whether it's we don't really know why things changed on the sports side. Whether it could be political, we don't know. Whether it was now not being really pushed up into sports, because what I know is, for me, I know there are quite a lot of Zimbabweans who got even scholarships in America because they are very competitive in sports. We know we do well in cricket as well, and swimming. And you know, this one who do the what do you call it, the race, the car racing, what is his name, this mixed race one?
I wouldn't know his name. I won't even attempt to say I know the name.
Nodumo, do you know the name? There's this one who is he was winning. He's Zimbabwean, although
okay.
he is not
I'll look
playing.
It up. Don't worry about it.
He's not playing for Zimbabwe, but what we know is a route from Zimbabwe.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
I'm going to look it up online now while we're here, so Beats Africa can get real-time information. So while I look that up in secret, please, I want to start from right to left. I want everybody to kind of introduce themselves, and we can get to know our guests a little bit more, because y'all came in giving great information to start us off correctly, but I want to personalize you with the audience. I want the audience to know exactly who we're speaking with. So please, to my right, if you're watching on Facebook Live, you will see her on the far right. Please, what is your name?
Hi, my name is Daniella Gumbo-Appiah. I'm I was about to say 29, about to take away a year. I am a 30-year-old specialist nurse practitioner by profession who splits her time between Ghana and London. My family and I, including my mum, who's to my right.
Nice. Okay. Wow, I would have never known. Hey, you was having babies young. You look like, yeah.
Fountain of youth.
I would have never known. Okay, yeah.
We came, or Mum actually, or she will tell you about her story herself, but came to Ghana. Simply just a stroke of luck in COVID, but came to Ghana and then pretty much stayed just due to the lovely welcome we've received in Ghana. My sister was previously married to a Ghanaian before she passed, so we've had a strong connection. I think even before my time, you know, back in the days of Sally and Robert, taking it old school way before my time. You know, Zimbabwe and Ghana, they've had very strong connections, and I think my husband and I, we kiki about it and say we are just continuing with rebuilding and
So where's your husband from?
He's from Ghana.
Okay.
So hence.
Where did y'all meet?
Mum's not just mum. She's a matchmaker too.
Y'all met in Ghana or Zimbabwe?
No, we actually...
Or London?
In London.
Okay.
We met in London by way of a nice introduction. So if anyone's listening, if your mum says, I've got a hookup, I mean, if your mum's like my mum, I say...
If your mum said she has a hookup, that means he has money.
Yeah. So mum actually introduced us. And I haven't looked back since. Ghana's just been amazing. We've been doing some work with marginalized women in mining. We are we've started working with children and young adults that have epilepsy in Ghana as part of a foundation that my mum and I have started in honor of my late sister. We're just carrying on from just what she had started to do, and we just want to see her legacy continue going forward so that her kids can see this is what mum started and this is what grandma and auntie have continued.
Congratulations. So
that's me.
Okay. Nurse practitioner, did you study in Ghana or studied in Zimbabwe?
I studied in London.
You do everything. This is not an episode on London.
I actually left. I left Zimbabwe when I was 7. So a lot of people find it very bizarre when they hear me speaking in Shona to my mum because they automatically assume I do not understand or speak Shona, but I love speaking in my language.
Nice. Teach a child in the way they should go.
I think it's just important for especially for diasporans who are born in a different country, to still stick with your nationality and still stick with your heritage because that is a part of your story. And the moment you start to water it down and you say, I don't speak the language, and it happens that I have friends who say, I don't speak the language, but they came to England a lot later than me. But it's just so important to understand the culture. I might not speak perfect Shona. I think I speak Shonglish.
So, Shonglish. So when you did the language that you the Shona. The Shona that you speak now, is that the one you learned as a child? Or did you take additional lessons and you continue to learn even when you was in London?
Oh, no, this is in the house. When we went to England, it was very much, we spoke with our mother tongue. It was when we were at home, we spoke in Shona. And again, it's very easy for us to kind of stop that because you're in a different country where everybody's speaking in English. But I think, again, with Zimbabwe, English is still one of our major languages. And you would find it's spoken by pretty much everyone. I remember both of my grandparents, even into their old age, they spoke English. So it's but it was very much when we went to England, my mum made a very cautious effort to say when we're at home, this is Zimbabwe at home. When you enter the front door, this is Zimbabwe. We will speak the language. We will, we'll teach you how we do things, as we would do as in Zimbabwe. So I was taught how to cook sadza. I burnt the pot a few times, broke a few mugoti, so which is like the wooden ladle that you would use to cook.
Okay, say the name. Mugoti. Mugoti.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is mugoti?
So it's literally just like a wooden ladle, and it's a specific one. If you use
what's a ladle?
Like a cooking, a cooking utensil.
Okay.
If you use, the baking ones, you can make it work, but you have to use the one with the long arm and the flat base. That's how you get your sadza nice and smooth. Or some might call it pap, but I'm a true Zimba, so I will call it sadza.
Sata. So what's sata?
Sadza, it's actually just it's maize. Okay. Maize that's been made into like a powder, and then
Ikwele.
It's the same thing as akwele. Yeah,
okay.
It's literally just the exact same thing. So again, this is interesting how Ghana and Zimbabwe, see, it's not just in relations that in relationships that we go, it's even with our food. We have a lot of similarities. So it's just, I remember learning how to cook sadza as a child, and I remember being like, you'd see like your older aunties doing it, your older siblings doing it, and you're thinking, I can't wait till I can really like grind the sadza and make it soft, and I don't want it to have lumps, because if you have lumps, you won't hear the end of it, because that's when you say you've cooked mbodza. So it's like the sadza is not hitting like it's supposed to hit.
I've been to a Zimbabwe restaurant once. And I had rice with peanut butter. And what is that called? I can't remember the name, but it was rice and peanut butter mixed into the rice, and it was so good.
rice with dovi. I don't know if there's a
It's mpunga with dovi.
yeah.
Mpunga with dovi.
Yes.
Dovi is what?
Peanut butter.
Peanut
Dovi
butter.
is peanut butter.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
just when you said that, my mouth even salivated. Because now I'm thinking,
it was nice.
we might have to have some of that for dinner.
And what's the name again?
Mpunga with dovi.
Mpunga with dovi.
Yeah.
Mpunga is rice.
Yes.
Okay, mpunga.
Yeah.
Okay, with dovi. Oh, nice.
Don't worry, next time I'll bring you some.
Oh yeah, I would love it. Yeah. So we're gonna go to mom in the middle next. But every time my father brought me up, you know, I'm from New York City, born and raised, but my father brought me up as traditionalist and loving Africa and teaching me about different parts of Africa in the country and the heritage and the history. So every time she would speak about her childhood and what you implement, I hope you know that I always looked at you as like, good. Because I was raised that way.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes as adults or parents, we don't realize the real effect that we have on our children until they turn into like full grown adults.
Yeah.
You know, so congratulations on all you've done to have your daughter beside you, and, you know, very, very impressive.
Thank you.
And you found her husband? Hey. You've done well. Please tell us your name, Mama.
My name is Enet Hodgkins, but my maiden name is Enet Kambarami. That's my Zimbabwean surname.
Say Kambarami.
Yes.
Kambarami.
Yes.
Wow.
But, I'm called.
Does it
Enet
have a
Hodgkins.
meaning? Kambarami?
Kambarami is a bed.
A bed.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm an accountant by profession, and I'm also a social worker by profession. And I also did mental health nursing by profession. I trained accountant. I've been an accountant. I was from Zimbabwe. Then when I moved to the UK, I worked as an accountant for a chartered accounting firm for about 4 years.
Okay.
Then I changed my profession. That's when I went and did social work, where I ended up doing my master's in mental health, and I ended up having qualifications for best interest assessor, approved mental health practitioner in that field of the healthcare and social care in the UK. And then from there, I worked in health and social care under NHS and social services for years before I started my own business, where I do run domiciliary care, and I also have care homes. I do have supported living.
Is that outpatient services?
Yes.
Yeah, outpatient services is something that continuously over outpatient services is definitely still futuristic thinking.
Yes.
So that's good. That's good.
So at least we are still protected from this artificial intelligence. We are still protected because ours, I think we still have to do hands-on work.
I say embrace AI.
Yeah. So
I say embrace AI. Yeah. I think it's going to lead to the imagination, the arts, to make it to come back, to the creative thinkers to come back.
Yeah.
Because now it's so many. I understand people rely on jobs, but yes, I said but it frees up more of our time.
Yeah.
So I think the evolution of the creative thinker is going to come back with AI doing some of the more mundane tasks, you know, that people may make a living off of, but people are not following their passions. But we could talk about that another time.
Yeah. So so that's what I do in the UK, you know, supporting vulnerable people and you know, learning disability, mental health, physical disability. That's what we do in the UK. And so, Daniella also, you know, is one of my managers there. And
who's that?
My daughter.
Your daughter's one of your managers?
Yes, she's one of my senior managers there as well.
Oh no, one of your managers as the owner, the director.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
one of your managers. Okay. At first I was like thinking that she was your manager. Like, don't have manager.
Yeah. So it has grown, you know.
Congratulations.
And we thank God for it.
How long have you been in the UK?
I've been in the UK for 20 years now.
20 years?
Yes.
Were you in Zimbabwe the entire time previous to that, or?
Yes, I was in. You mean when I was in Zimbabwe?
Yeah. When did you leave Zimbabwe?
I left Zimbabwe 2000.
2000. Okay.
Yes, August 2000. That's when I left Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was working in Zimbabwe as an accountant for INSCO, which was head office for head office for Chicken Inn. I saw Chicken Inn came and they've
Chicken
come
Inn.
out. Yes, Chicken Inn, Pizza Inn. I think it was here in Ghana.
Inn. Yeah,
But
okay.
I think they've moved out now. Yeah, and
They're still everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, so I was working for them as one of the accountants there for the fast food division.
Yeah.
Then from there, I now moved to the UK. That's when I worked as an accountant in a chartered accounting firm, then moved again, went back to university, but I still continued working as an accountant, having, some subcontracting work with my chartered accounting firm. So from there, my daughter being married to a Ghanaian, I visited Ghana. Then I went with a friend to Akua. Then I saw these people who were burning gold on the station, which doesn't happen in Zimbabwe anyway. You wouldn't see people burning, gold everywhere. So
that's not. You don't expect this on the side of the road in the street.
Yes.
They got gold like that in Akua? I'm about to be in Akua tonight. Be bright and early in the morning. Yeah.
So it's something which just intrigued me, and I went back to England. I prayed about it, and
hopefully God said, go get that gold.
then I came back. I came back to visit because I just wanted to find out exactly what do they do, So I came back, but then I came back. I was supposed to be here for 2 weeks, but then after 1 week, that's when all this COVID, and we were told all airports are going to be closed, so which means I needed to go back. But I said, no, I was not going to go back, because why did the Lord let me come to Ghana when he knew it was going to be closed? So maybe I'm here for a mission. So that's when I started investigating how this gold business goes and all that. So I ended up, registering gold, going into the gold business in Ghana. So that's where we are. We've got our licenses. We thank God for it.
Congratulations.
And exporting gold. So that's how.
Where do you export to?
Anyway, in the country, everywhere, where there's a
The
market.
country, the continents, the world?
Yeah, the whole world.
Okay.
The license is for the whole world. Yes, so you can export it anyway as long as there's a market there. So that's where we are. We are into mining. And my daughter, my late daughter, because I had 3 children, the first one who was married to a Ghanaian, she had started a blog in epilepsy, and she wanted to have a charity in Ghana. So,
let me ask you both this question, because when your daughter first mentioned it, it popped in my head, and I said, let her keep talking. How serious is it when strobe lights and flashing lights on computer screens, on television, on phones, triggers epilepsy?
It can be a trigger. So with my sister, her seizures, they were well managed for several years. Fortunately with medication, but I know for some of our service users in the UK, even things like temperature, if the room gets too hot, it can deregulate them, just their whole hormones, and then that could trigger off a seizure. So you'd find there's certain houses that we have where we actually have to be cautious of the lighting. Things like this bright light, that wouldn't work for some of our residents. So it's every person will have a different trigger. So it's not everybody that will be triggered by the strobe lights. Some people might be triggered by having being too hot. Some people might be triggered by being too cold. Most people, they can know their triggers, and when they can know their triggers, then different things can be implemented. But this does take time. I remember with my sister, one of the things that she would be able to do was a smell. She would often say, "Oh, there's an aura," and then she would know she's about to have a seizure. I've worked with other people who they would also talk about having that aura, and then they would know, or they would at least be able to alert somebody that I'm about to have a seizure, whether it's pressing a personal alarm, or some people are fortunate enough to have an assistance dog which knows when they're about to have a seizure. They can get into the recovery position in time. But unfortunately, these are things that are still, it's a work in progress. As much as medicine has evolved, I still think there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, especially when you're in a third world country, when it comes to the right treatment and the right support even that the family need, because you'd be surprised as to how many people don't actually know how to put somebody in a recovery position, which they need to do after somebody has a seizure.
That's on the side, right? You lay them on the side so they don't choke on it.
Even things like making sure that they're not, how's their tongue whilst they're having a seizure? Do they have any jewelry on? There's so many people that we've spoken to, they don't know these things. But then if let's say they're having a seizure and they've got a necklace on, that could actually strangle them, which could ultimately lead to a more catastrophic event. But these are just things that we have picked up on through conversations with people in Ghana, people in Zimbabwe, and other African countries, where we do think there is some work that we still need to do to make sure that people are aware. And unfortunately, there is still this stigma of people think, oh, it's witchcraft when you have a seizure, but it's not.
Unfortunately.
So there's still a lot of work to do.
Like mermaids.
Yeah.
Okay. So let us get to our final guest on my far left. I know it took some time, but we're here.
Yes,
Yes, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Great.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm happy. I'm celebrating my birthday this week.
Awesome.
Yeah, I get to say it.
Late belated.
Oh, Madasi, thank you. How do I say? We talked about language a little bit. How do I say thank you in Zona? Shona. How do I say thank you in Shona?
In Shona, maita henyu.
Maita lelu.
No, maita henyu.
Maeta hinu.
Or majita.
No, Maeta hinu.
Yes.
Or
In Debele.
In Debele, you say
I want in
Siyabonga.
Shona.
In Shona is,
Because that's your language. That's the one that y'all said that's in our household.
In our house, but to be fair, our household is a melting pot of many languages.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear thank you, Madasi.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So I would, if let's say I was, saying thank you to mum or somebody that's a bit older, Maitabasa, but it would be
Matabasa.
like you have to be respectful with it. And you
Matabasa.
have to. So for a woman, you would clap with your hands like this, and for a man, it's like this. And
Okay,
you have to cup your hands because the sound has to be.
And this is for a man.
Yeah.
And what do I say?
Maitabasa or maitahenyu.
Maita hinu.
Yes.
Maita hinu. And if I want to say thank you to Mama, I go.
If I'm saying thank you to mom, okay, I usually say thank you, mom, but I would say maitahenyu mama.
Okay. No, I mean like if I wanted to say thank you to your mom, I would say
like so.
No, you still do this.
I still do this. Okay.
Yeah. Maitahenyu mama. So at the end, we just end the mama.
Yeah.
Okay. Maita hinu Mama.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get back to I'll let you on the left. Please, what is your name, please?
I'm Nodumo Dhlamini. I'm also called Akua.
Okay, queer.
Yeah,
that's your
yeah.
Ghanaian name.
Yes.
Okay.
Even though I speak Shona, but my mother language is not Shona, it's Ndebele.
Ntebele.
Yeah. Okay. So we come from the southern part of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So our language has cliques, and it's also connected to other South African languages.
Okay.
Like Zulu, Xhosa. So there's a relationship with those other languages.
So how do I say thank you?
Siyabonga.
Siyabona.
Siyabonga.
Siyabonga.
Yeah.
Siyabonga.
Yes.
You know, every time I'm hosting and they teach me how to say thank you in their language, whatever country we're in, and I review the tapes later, I sound so terrible. And the guests just be like, yeah, you're right. But when I actually listen to the replay, I be like, oh. I get so embarrassed. Yeah. So tell me one more time.
Yeah. Siyabonga.
Siyabonga.
Yeah, with an NGA at
Nga.
the end. Nga.
Nya.
Yeah.
Siyabonga.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch the Facebook Live replay later. I'm like, oh, I was so terrible. Okay. How long have you been in Ghana?
Okay, I've been in Ghana since end of May 2015.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I came to Ghana because of work. I got appointed to an organization which is continental. It's a Pan-African organization, so they recruit other people from other countries in Africa. It's an organization that works with universities in Africa. So it's called Association of African Universities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What made you come to Ghana? Why did you come to Ghana?
I actually didn't plan to come to Ghana because I was working in Uganda. I had been in Uganda for about 7 years.
Amazing.
And then I thought maybe I need a change. So then I happened to see a job being advertised. I'm in the area of information technology. And
So how do you feel about what they said about IT?
I don't agree that AI is a risk.
Okay, so it's 2 and 2.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I take it almost like when the calculator came,
Yeah.
people were very negative about the calculator and they said students would now copy. But with time, the calculator has been situated to support, students.
Yeah.
So the same way, I think the way that we test learning, effective learning has to change. So we now must not ask students to do things that they can go and reproduce from ChatGPT. So we need to be more creative about assessment.
Yeah.
And also we need to train the teachers, the academics, the adults to really understand what AI is.
Yeah.
Because if they don't know, then the students will actually be in charge of the classrooms instead of the teacher. Yeah, so there's a huge requirement around capacity building, and then we need to align this AI to what we want to come out of the children.
Upon my research about Zimbabwe, I saw conflicting reports. One said that Zimbabwe has the highest literacy rate in all of Africa. But then others said that the Zimbabwe economy caused thousands of teachers to leave, and there's an education crisis in Zimbabwe. Since you've been speaking on education in the classroom and teachers, how do you see Zimbabwe education?
I think Zimbabwe's education has developed over the years, because I think currently I will speak about universities because that's what I'm familiar with. We have about 12 public universities. We have about 8 private ones. Yeah, we have a number of colleges, and the population is about 16 million. So I think Robert Mugabe and his government did very well in terms of training people, because when the government came in at that time, they forced everyone to go back to school. There was actually hot seating. One school could host like 3 sessions of learning. So the government believed that once people are educated, they can take care of themselves. So I still believe that the literacy is very high, but I don't believe we still have the same quality. And I don't think it's only Zimbabwe. It's many African countries that are suffering this because the best people seem to leave. Yeah, even in other African countries, they seek greener pastures. So we seem to be training people, but training them for other countries.
For other countries and not reinvesting.
Yeah. So we need to find a way to retain our talent. Yeah.
Do you have any ideas on how to retain talent in Zimbabwe?
I think, for example, technology offers a huge opportunity for us to tap into the diaspora. People don't have to be physically in Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe has opened, excuse me, forgive me for interrupting, because it's something that I actually watched on one of the videos I saw. The guide, the person doing the video, he was surprised to find out that it was such regular internet access in Zimbabwe. Does Zimbabwe, especially in the major cities, has easy public internet?
I wouldn't like to say it's easy. People pay for it because it's mobile phone based mostly, but there is coverage within the cities. But I can't say public Wi-Fi. You have to subscribe to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think AI can help retain the brightest of Zimbabwe into the country?
So I don't believe about them being in Zimbabwe. I believe that they can be wherever they are.
Remotely.
Yeah. And then they can maybe contribute to things like machine learning, where they produce content which can then be tapped into by artificial intelligence for teaching and learning. Or we could actually develop very high quality content for our online platforms and make sure this content is of world-class standard. Then these people can come in to deliver these lectures. So I think what we need to focus on is very good infrastructure, very good teaching and learning content, and then we need a very good system to coordinate the diaspora so that they can contribute from where they are. We need programs that allow diaspora to be mobile, to come in and go as they please. Because I don't think it's about forcing people to be in a particular place. And even in Ghana here, if we have good professors in a particular area, why doesn't a professor at the University of Ghana teach for the University of Zimbabwe? With technology, that's possible. Then we don't need to be trying to reproduce the same people, the same expertise, but we can share it.
Great. Great. We're going to take a quick commercial break, give our guests, 2-3 minutes to unwind a little bit, talk behind the scenes. We'll be back soon with our East African correspondent, Boniface. Please stay tuned because we had a long music break in the beginning. So we'll be sure to make this one shorter, and we'll be back with our guest from Zimbabwe, Beats Africa, 3FM 92.7.
Beats Africa 92.7.
3FM Sunrise.
Welcome back to Beats Africa 92.73 FM. We're still with our guest from Zimbabwe. If you stuck around from the last segment, they discussed something as a continuation the whole time, and I'm like, man, should I tell them to stop? But I don't want to break the momentum. Please, what were y'all discussing? The last thing we were talking about was AI before we in the Zimbabwe school system. And as soon as we signed off and went to commercial, y'all continued the conversation. So Mama started. What was it that y'all that you had to say?
I was saying this artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
You'd find lots of people, who were just maybe like saving in the shops. They are going to lose. They are losing jobs, and they are not being replaced.
Yeah.
Because of this artificial intelligence, because they don't have anything to do there. I will give an example. If you go to England in Tesco,
yeah,
and maybe we used to have maybe about 15 tills. Now we only have got two tills only, and we have only maybe one. We're saving another 10 because it's self-service.
Yeah,
you scan as you go, and when you can. There's one way you can pick up, then you come and you scan and you pay.
Yeah,
and there's another one where you take your scanner,
like
so
Home
you're
Depot.
Scanning.
Yeah,
as you go, and then you pay yourself. So it's only when you get stuck, when this till operator will come and assist you, will only tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So which means all these 15s, they don't have jobs anymore. Then we do have a restaurant where you scan, because even on the trains as well, you scan. And
so let me just give it context for our listeners.
Yes.
Let's say if you went to Chicken Inn, since that's what you brought up, Chicken Inn or Pizza Inn.
Yes.
And instead of having to talk to the young lady or the gentleman behind the counter,
yes,
you just typed into a computer what you wanted to order.
Yes.
And then you just scanned your card.
Yes.
Then one person in the back will come out and bring your order. And even in the United States, like McDonald's or places like that,
yes,
another machine will come out and bring your order.
Yes.
So one of the issues she says she's having, so what are all those people who lose those jobs are going to do? Continue. I just want to give the context from.
Yeah, because for me, I'm just thinking, what are they going to do? It's the same thing even in our health and care industry as well. You'd find we used to have the manual things, like when somebody has to open the door, you push the wheelchair, you do. All those things are going because instead of me having maybe 2 staff members, one opening the door, we have got all these sensors now. Even a sensor for for water.
Yeah.
And a sensor which dries you. You don't need somebody to dry you with a towel.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You get in. You the moment you are getting into the shower, the doors they open.
Yeah.
When they open, you get in the shower. It knows you are there. It shower you.
Yeah.
And then it knows you have finished. It will dry you. So which means all those people, what are they going to be doing?
I think.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh because
the IT
I was real quick. I'm sorry.
Because the IT people already who are working in the background. It's them again who we have got there. They are keeping their jobs because they were IT people.
Yeah.
No.
But what about this layman who didn't even have a clue of IT? What are they going to do?
So please, as much as I would love to continue this conversation, I keep seeing on my screen my producer saying Zimbabwe. So we have to stick with Zimbabwe because I'm a believer in. I can't even tell you what I believe in because then I wouldn't be listening to my producer. So. Now, this actually is a good transition into the economy because we are talking about jobs. As I research the economy in Zimbabwe, this is the story I told earlier. I briefed that earlier. They started talking about in Zimbabwe that the economy had went so bad that they had to create a $100 billion note. And then as I did further research, they said not only did they make $100 billion notes, they had to create $100 trillion note. And that inflation in Ghana, when I first came to Ghana in 2015, when I first started visiting Ghana, I think the Ghana CD to the American dollar was 5.1. And I think now we're hovering around 11. But they said inflation in Zimbabwe has gotten so bad that they really said the inflation was over 80,000%, and that they virtually, the inflation hit infinity. Like, that's what they were saying. Inflation has reached infinity, which is mind-blowing to me. How has the economy in Zimbabwe started to rebound? I read things like they even use dollars. They even use other currency. They don't even though the Zimbabwe note has been reinstated, a lot of people don't even use Zimbabwe notes. That's like being in Ghana and people say, I'm not even using CDs at all. Are you familiar with what's going on with the Zimbabwe economy now?
Yeah, we are. Of course, we no longer have $1 trillion notes. We don't have but there was a period when that happened. I think it was around 2007.
2008.
2008.
15 years? Is that 15? Yeah, that's recent.
Yes, yeah. So, and then we opt to dollarize, use US dollars to counter this inflation problem. So we have a Zimbabwe dollar, but now we are using a US dollar. And we also use currencies like the South African rand, Botswana pula. Yeah, in my view, the economy is still not good, but we are not back to 2008.
And they told me my research said the $100 billion note only brought about one loaf of bread and 3 eggs.
And the thing is, it didn't last for long, that $100 billion, no.
Yeah.
I think it was just for a very short period.
Okay.
And I think they revisited and they revised everything. So, because even if we say the $100 billion was paying for a loaf of bread and just some eggs, but it really depends whether if I'm getting 100 billion, was my salary 10 billion? Was my salary 20 billion? So it really doesn't really matter whether that billion was what it was buying, but it's about how much was I getting in order for me to buy the one bread and the egg, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the salaries were highly inflated. People's salaries at that time were never, they kept.
So it kept up with the inflation.
I think things were difficult. Things were difficult.
I think like any other country, they when it comes to inflation, you'd find we always have different grades of people who are living in any other country, especially here in Africa, even in England as well. You'd find some people, no matter what the inflation is, they still have a very good life, and whether even they are not, even if they are not even in politics or what, but they still manage, and they are going higher and higher. And they always say, the richer they get richer, and the poor they get poorer. So I think it's.
So if I went to Zimbabwe tomorrow, right after Beats Africa, I fly out to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Would you advise me to take American dollars or to convert into the Zimbabwe dollar?
American dollars.
Use the American dollar.
Yes.
So let's just say 10 American dollars is about 100. It's a little higher, but let's just make even numbers. So let's say 10 American dollars is 100 Ghana CDs. It's really like 111, 112, something like that. But let's just say, what can I get in Zimbabwe for 100 Ghana CDs, thinking 10 American dollars?
Oh, you can buy lunch in some places. Yeah, you can buy lunch.
That's expensive. I can buy
to pay with how much? US
let's say 100 Ghana CDs. What can I get for 100 Ghana cedis
100
in
Ghana
Zimbabwe?
cedis, that's $10 US.
$10 US, yeah.
Oh yeah, $10 US. You can buy, some a meal in Ghana, in Zimbabwe, with $10.
A normal meal?
Oh yeah, you can be your
hotel,
sada.
like
But I don't think many Ghanaians are paying 100 cedis for lunch.
Where?
In
Here?
Ghana, yeah.
In Ghana?
Yeah.
Oh, it's unfortunate. I took out my receipts. I would have shown.
Hey, we're talking to privilege. We might be talking to
Yeah,
big.
Ghana.
We're talking to big women here. They, forgive me. Maybe we're talking to a lot of big people on
I
our.
think if you're
Yeah.
looking at the average Ghanaian, you can go,
Yeah.
you can, food-wise, you can go somewhere in Ghana and spend 30 cedis and have a decent lunch.
Yeah.
In Zimbabwe, it's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
We don't have chop bars in Zimbabwe, which is, I think, where you can spend 30 cedis in Ghana in a chop bar. But let's say you were going to go maybe to a restaurant. I won't drop any names because, you know.
Yes, because I probably already got penalized.
But if I was to maybe go to a proper sit-down restaurant, I would be spending about the $10 and above. But in Zimbabwe, we don't have chop bars. We have places where you can go and you can braai or you can barbecue your meat. Because, you know, as you said earlier, we're a landlocked country, so we
Export.
love meat. There's no meal that does not have tangible meat. And when we say tangible meat, we're talking your beef, your chicken. I remember I'll tell you a little funny story. At one point, mom
Looked at you like,
she did
what are
not
you,
like
shit?
mincemeat. She was mincemeat is not meat.
Yeah.
Like, I need a meat with a bone. And it's very common. Even if you look on Instagram and you check on Zimbabwean food, you will see a meat with a bone because that's just what we're really into. And so I'll be honest, you wouldn't get that for $10.
Yeah, but for $10 you can get your sada. There are places like why we call mereki, and you know the way you know akwele. They cook akwele and you barbecue your meat.
Okay.
Because Zimbabwean, they like, you know, all these barbecuing. So you have your akwa, all what you buy your meat and you give it to these women who barbecue it for you, and you just buy from them akwele. Then they do the tomato and onion. Yes, you can buy for $10.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
$10, and it's a lot of food.
All right.
It will be a lot.
Maybe I'm different, but a day I couldn't spend 111 CDs a day, 110 CDs, let's say 100 CDs.
Yes.
100 CDs a day. That's 500 for lunch alone. That's 500 CDs a week.
it's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a lot.
But that's one thing which I noticed, which is very different from Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
As when I'm going to work in the morning, I also take my lunch. Whatever was left over in the night, I can take it, and that's what I eat for lunch. Breakfast, I've noticed here in Ghana, people, they buy porridge which is in a plastic.
Yeah.
As Zimbabweans, in Zimbabwe, you don't see people selling porridge on the street. No. So I think maybe that's where.
What does the normal Zimbabwe have for Zimbabwean?
You can cook the porridge.
I can cook the porridge and take it to work. Why should I buy porridge from someone on the street? That's Zimbabwean mentality. I can do my own sandwich. I buy my bread, a loaf of bread, take it home. So I wouldn't spend 500.
So in Zimbabwe
for lunch, no.
In Zimbabwe, you're either cooking at home or cooking in a restaurant. There's no in between. Okay.
But we do have some, you know, like the chicken in and all that, and even the one which I was talking about, that's merek and all that. But it's not that, you know, like people, they have to, to say, I have to do that. No. Maybe once in a while, or maybe month end when people get paid, that's when you find this place is full. But otherwise, people, they've got this tendency of, you know, bringing in their food, some, you know, a sandwich for their breakfast at work. Or maybe your leftover rice from home, or even if it's akwele, you bring it. You bring it to work and you eat it.
I think I have a slightly different opinion. I think your millennials and your Gen Zs, everything is on social media. So because everything is on social media, you want people to see that you've eaten, that snazzy lunch or whatever it is. So people nowadays, they are tending to go out and have, food that's out. It's becoming just the norm, and so whilst maybe before it would have been a thing where you would make your packed lunch and you would bring it to work, and then you would go back home and you would you'd cook your food and everything like that, but things have started to shift. We're now seeing food bloggers are coming in. We're now seeing we're even seeing restaurants even having food competitions, and they're doing all these things purely because it's going to bring them more revenue. I can be in England and I'm reviewing and I'm watching food that's being cooked in Zimbabwe, and I'm thinking, okay, so next time I'm in Zimbabwe, I'm going to go to that specific restaurant because I've seen, this blogger that's been posting this food.
Great. We have our East African correspondent, Boniface, here. Boniface, can you hear me?
Yes, Rashad. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Boniface. Hey, last week you had just the flashlight. You was in the dark with the flashlights. Last week on we now we see. Are you using a blue screen or a green screen, or that's where you really are?
No, I'm actually in Mombasa, coastal city of Mombasa right now.
Nice.
Just having a short break before the heavy season, because usually our industry gets really picked up around this time. So I'm just taking a moment to come enjoy the beautiful coast. As you can see behind me, I'm at a beautiful resort, just having fun and enjoying myself.
Oh, great! Congratulations. Hey, Boniface, this is my birthday. I need a present from Kenya.
Oh, you need a present from Kenya?
I need a present from Kenya.
How about I bring you?
I need sand from the white sand beach. Matter of fact, you was about to give me an idea. What can you get me for my birthday?
Okay. Let me surprise you.
Oh, that means nothing. All right. Let's get on with the stories. I had to try. You said you was in Mombasa, so I figured I could get some of the white sand from the beaches out there.
Oh, like the white sands. Yeah, why not the white sands or the artifacts? I mean, we have amazing artifacts, seashells, which they do, they create nice little seashells. We also have beautiful carvings that they do down here. We also have the it's like a kanga, which is it's a big culture in the coasts. A kanga is it's like a wrapping. It's like sort of the kente.
Wow. Okay.
So what the ladies used to wrap around themselves, but guys have started doing outfits out of it. So yeah, a lot of nice, beautiful things I can get you from down here. That's why are you not trusting me, Rashad? I can get you a good surprise.
Because you said you're going to get me a special wrap that women wear. That's not for me.
No. It was originally worn by women, but what has happened is that material has been taken, and a lot of fashion designers are using the material now to create a lot of amazing outfits.
All right, I need samples. I can't trust you.
You're not trusting me.
Not that I don't trust you. I don't know if I trust the world right now, to get. But that's a conversation for another time. Where would I guess from Zimbabwe? So that's a country we're doing this week. And I thought about Kenya a lot because I was reading about Zimbabwe and the Big Five. The Big Five, the lions, the elephants, the buffaloes and leopards.
Yeah.
And which one am I? Giraffe. And and my original introduction to the Big Five was in Kenya. So that's kind of how I put the correlation together. But I know you have some great stories of course. Kenya is my first, safari. That's the first place I've ever been to game drives and all that stuff. So please.
I've also never been to Zimbabwe, but I look forward to seeing if they can beat us. I don't know if they can beat us with the Big Five. The what do you call it? Lion King was actually based on
we have a lot.
one of our parks. Yeah.
They said they can. They said they have a lot. So we have to have a Zimbabwe, Kenyan.
I guess we need a battle of the safaris, right?
Battle of the safaris.
Kenya versus Zimbabwe. That should be interesting.
I wouldn't mind seeing lions fight. Zimbabwe Lions versus Kenya Lions. I'm not gonna let my imagination.
Or we bring Kenyan lions and Zimbabwe lions, they fight, and then we see which one wins.
We see which one wins, right? King of the jungle.
That sounds like fun.
All right.
So I start my stories right here in Mombasa, where just a few days ago, actually, yesterday but one, the King of England, King Charles, left from right here from Mombasa after a 4-day official tour, which is this is the first country where he's visited, first Commonwealth country which he has visited, and of course it was quite a spectacle because he left for the airport in what we call a tuk-tuk. So a tuk-tuk is kind of like a motorcycle. It's like a small car. It's like a small It's like a motorcycle with a small body, which can now carry 2 people at the back. It's hard to explain what a tuk-tuk is, but they use it a lot in India. I don't know if they have it in I don't know if you guys have it in Accra, but it was quite a spectacle for the king to live in a British branded tuk-tuk. Which really caused a lot of interest across netizens.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Our Zimbabwe guest has something to say about that. What did you say?
It's in Kumasi.
It's in Kumasi? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you meet the king and queen? Because you're in Mombasa and they was in Mombasa. Did you meet the king or queen by any face?
No, I didn't meet the King of England.
Disappointed me.
But he caused a lot of traffic. I actually came in the day he was leaving, so he caused a lot of traffic here in Mombasa. It took me a very long time to get to my hotel, so that's all I got to experience of him.
Was it Nairobi traffic?
No, Mombasa, because he finished his tour in Mombasa.
No, I mean Nairobi has serious traffic issues too.
Yes.
Was it worse? Was it bad like Nairobi traffic?
This was beyond Nairobi traffic. This was really bad traffic. Like something that should take us like 15 minutes took us like 2 hours.
Boniface, hold on one second. Does Zimbabwe have huge, heavy traffic problems?
They have, but not like Ghana and Uganda.
Not like Ghana and Uganda?
No.
Our Uganda traffic was bad too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to Bonnie. I just want to ask that quick question real quick. All right, Boniface, we're here.
So yes, so the Majesties boarded the plane around 1:30 p.m., making an end to an eventful 4-day state visit, which is their first visit to a Commonwealth. Now, earlier, the King had secretly met with families of freedom fighters Evelyn Kimathi and Richard Langat, who are members of Dedan Kimathi, Mekatili, Wamenza, Koitalel, and Arap Somei, and Semi Arap Borowo. Those are the key freedom fighters. So King Charles also met with Mzee Kahegeria, the chairperson of Mau Mau Veteran Association, who has played a significant role in seeking compensation for victims of colonial brutality. According to the statement by the UK High Commission to Kenya, the meeting provided an opportunity for the King to hear firsthand about the violence meted against Kenyans during the struggle for independence, which a lot of people found a bit insincere because you are the king and the ruler of the colonial powers. You should know what your people did back in the day. You know? But basically, the visit came in the background of a lot of pressure by Britain to apologize for colonial atrocities in Kenya. And though the king apologized, he didn't really apologize. He just admitted that the history between Kenya and Britain is regrettable. You know. And let me tell you how serious it is. My own grandfather, the dad of my father, died just after, being coming out of one of those concentration camps, which they used to put Africans in. And after he left, like a few months, he passed on. So it's really a fresh history that's in all our minds. It's not that far off story you hear about. So it's something a lot of people were speaking about, and it was on the minds of a lot of people as the king made his visit to Kenya. And I guess he had to at least make an appearance of dealing with the issue.
I'm for reparations. I guess I'm sorry is okay, but it is what it is. You said you have some news for us from Nigeria.
Yes, Burna Boy refused to perform in Dubai and ended up forfeiting $5 million worth of a performance fee because they wouldn't allow him to smoke weed.
That's an
First of all,
expensive.
Burna Boy is paid $5 million for a performance. $5 million. Okay, so I want to be Burna Boy when I grow up. That's a loan. Not very many people can even qualify to be given a loan of $5 million. And then I want to be Burna Boy to refuse a $5 million performance because they won't allow me to smoke weed. So I'm like, how important exactly is that weed? What does he put in his weed that is worth $5 million? I'm not sure.
I'm not making any claims or anything, but addiction has cost people more than $5 million. It costs families, lives. I'm not saying he's addicted. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you pass up $5 million because you can't. So you can't smoke for a week and you say no. But continue.
So he revealed that in an interview where he said, "Just now I turned down Dubai money, $5 million. Now small thing because me I like to go where them go. Agree, allow me smoke Igbo." Burna Boy freestyled while rehearsing with his band. Outsiders in a video making the rounds on social media platforms. So yeah, quite the price to pay. Okay, I will not say addiction, but you said it. I will say that.
I just think about all the thing he could have did with the money. It could have been giveaway. It could have been investment in the community somewhere. And it's all right, so I can't smoke weed. What kind of, I don't know. I would like to know more about that story before I say any opinions or anything like that.
It's out there. I mean, just Google it on X. It's out there on social media. So everyone can go out, grab it, take a look at it, and make your own judgment.
No, if you could pass up $5 million to not smoke weed, I don't need to waste 5 minutes researching it. Now that I think about it, yeah, pay me $5 million to research it.
Figure out where you spend that.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Let's go to South Africa.
So
yeah. Forget Burna Boy.
On other news, as the victory parade continues for South Africa. South Africa following the rugby win, capped by Springboks. Captain Sia Kolisi has clinched 1 million Instagram followers following this amazing time. So Kolisi content is loved by many. His cheerful personality and the fact that he led his team once again to victory has everyone wanting to see what he's up to. This makes Kolisi the most followed Springbok player on the app. And basically, the victory parade is still going on. It goes to Durban next, and fans can expect more content from Springboks that will get them double tapping. So obviously, an amazing time. It's a whole festival going on right now in South Africa, just celebrating the win of their national rugby team, the Springboks.
Wow, interesting news this week. We touched music, we touched sports. We even touched a little bit about politics. How long are you going to be in Mombasa?
Well, sadly, I have to go back tomorrow to noisy, stressful Nairobi. But all the same, had a beautiful time. Rashad, whenever you do manage to come to Kenya, I have to bring you to Mombasa.
Oh, definitely.
It's a lovely, beautiful place. The beaches down here are just beautiful. You will not find nice white beaches like you do right here in Mombasa.
Boniface, we've been friends for close to a year now. Since January. It's almost been a year. I think when we finally really connect and we really start networking, I really think we're gonna shake the room. I think we're gonna do some really great. I'm excited because you don't worry about it. We're gonna be bringing some things together in the future. Don't worry about it. All right. Thank you as always, Boniface.
Okay.
Hey, and for anybody who listens to the show every week, I always used to say, I'll call Boniface, I'll call you during the week. And then it was one week I said, Boniface, no, you call me because since I can't keep it. And Boniface has reached out to me every week since. So reach out to me during the week and we'll talk some more, Boniface.
Definitely.
Great. I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Okay. Awesome. All the best. You guys have a beautiful week in Accra and all of our Africa listening.
Your Zoom looks great this week too. I like this Zoom. This one is good. This one is good. Whatever you're doing, maybe it's the location. This one is really nice.
I think it's Mombasa. There's something about Mombasa that just Maybe it's making my skin glow.
Not you. I'm just talking about the connection. Come on.
The connection. Yeah. Oh, come on, Rashad. You're breaking my heart here. I'm enjoying myself.
Man.
But yeah, I guess today the connection is great.
Yeah, the connection is real good. I like it. All right. Yeah, that's the briefing conversation. So we're not going to talk about that on air. That's the briefing conversations. Boniface, awesome. Thank you so much. All right.
Okay. All the best.
Great. See you next week. Hey, shout outs to our East African correspondent Boniface Ingra, out of Kenya, doing great things as always. So we have about 15 minutes left with our guest from Zimbabwe. What is relationships between Zimbabwe and East Africa, Kenya, Uganda? You mentioned, but like, what is Zimbabwe's relations with other African countries? Since we just leaving our East African correspondent, like with East Africa,
it's a good relationship. For one, we don't need visas to go to those East African countries, and also we share a lot in terms of the colonial history.
Because I made a note. South Africa became independent
1994.
I have here 1910.
No.
South Africa formally achieved its independence from Britain on May 31st, 1910.
And then the Afrikaners took over.
See, y'all was talking something else. So for anybody who was at the introduction to the show, and I said Zimbabwe is the youngest or the most recent, no. I was right. So tell us about that's interesting. What is the Afrikaners, though? What is that?
Afrikaners are the white people.
Okay.
Who are like indigenous.
Yeah. And if you continue to go, but even if you want to go into the white farmers being booted from Zimbabwe, does that have anything to do with Afrikaners? The white farmers from Zimbabwe, were they Afrikaners?
No, they were not.
That's different. Okay, please tell me about the Afrikaners.
Yeah. So the Afrikaners came to South Africa a long time ago. And I think they speak Afrikaans, which is like German.
It's sort of.
It's not German,
but it's not German.
No, it's not German.
Excuse me.
It's the other country. I'll remember it.
Is it the Dutch?
Y'all can talk amongst yourselves into the mic. Don't worry about it.
It's the Dutch.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Dutch.
It's a version of Dutch. Yeah. So they are normally a very conservative group, and I think they've been into farming. They more like live in the rural areas. And
so where are the Afrikaners from? Like how? Okay, so
I think they are of Dutch origin.
That's what you said. But let me give let me just backtrack and see how. So 1910, Zimbabwe was free from Britain colonial rule.
South
Africa colonial rule.
Yeah.
Okay, South Africa. I know my producer's gonna be like Zimbabwe, but and then they went into Afrikaners took over, and then that was 1994, which is why they say South Africa is the most recent.
Then the majority rule came in 1994.
Okay, we don't want to talk about South African history. Okay, but that shows that our guests are very well versed, and we continue to appreciate. Yeah. So another readings that I've been doing lately is that Rwanda has opened up visas to all African countries. In recent news also, Ghana and South Africa has ended the need for a visa. And you just said that Zimbabwe can travel, Zimbabweans, is that how I say Zimbabweans, can travel to East Africa freely. As people who travel and are well-versed in travel, do you really see a non-bordered Africa one day in our lifetime? Just like how Europe, before Brexit, when Europe had pretty much no borders almost. Do you see Africa as a continent eventually turn into something that really has almost virtually no borders, like 40 countries out of 54 or things of that nature?
Are we including Morocco when you're talking of Africa?
Yeah.
That's a different story because I consider sub-Saharan. When I say Africa, me personally, I think sub-Saharan Africa. I don't really count Northern Africa, but if I met somebody from Morocco or Egypt, I would bring them on Beats Africa.
I think we can get to that place, and I think we are making strides in doing so. Do I think it will happen within our lifetime? I think certain elements of it, yes. I think there's still a lot of groundwork maybe that needs to be done in terms of clarity. We had an event last year where we actually had some of the members of AFTA come in and speak, and they spoke about the free borders and trying to open up Africa, and some of the themes that kind of came up in the conversations from the different panels. It was, we were saying we want to do these things, but how can we actually implement them correctly? Because it sounds amazing on paper, but it's going to actually physically take a lot of work and a lot of collaborative work and a lot of people being in agreement. And I think maybe this is where we are kind of falling short on certain areas. Yes, we're making positive strides, with Ghana and South Africa kind of opening up and now being visa free. You spoke about Uganda as well, and that's Rwanda. Sorry, that's great, but there's still so many other African countries, and even if we look at Morocco, even if any of us wanted to go to Morocco, it's not. If I have my my green Zimbabwean passport, it's not just that straightforward for me. Even just for me to get from here to Zimbabwe, there's no straight flight. I have to go either through to Ethiopia and then wait in Ethiopia for about 6 hours, however long.
I love layovers.
Then
keep going.
It's just.
I understand.
We're saying that we want to be borderless, but how borderless can we be when there's still so many restrictions just to get from one place to another? It takes me a lot longer to get from here to England than it does to get from here to Zimbabwe, and that's a problem in itself.
And I think the way that it will happen, it will be through the regions first. SADC region is now open to those from the SADC. ECOWAS is open to those from ECOWAS. So now what we need is regional agreements. For me, for example, being in Ghana here, because we go to many African countries, I struggle to travel in West Africa. Ghana, of course, I don't need a visa. Senegal is slightly easier. It's almost like Rwanda. But all the other countries, except maybe Benin, I need to apply for a visa.
What I notice as a sub theme that's not spoken of, I feel like when countries do these things, they're putting more onus on personal accountability rather than government implementation. And this is an idea that I just started, kind of developing. So these are like the raw early thoughts. But I see when countries start to open up their borders and say you don't need a visa, it's more like, okay, like we're expecting you to come here and
behave.
Yeah. And I also think that personal accountability, idealistically, is something that we start to put more. And really, when people do wrong, make them feel the ramifications of doing wrong, but give us the benefit of the doubt of being able to travel freely and adhere by the law. And hopefully the laws are, legit also. Don't say I can come there free and then you extort me or kidnap me or something crazy. To any country, I'm not talking about one specific country. Yeah.
I think it's quite difficult because the thing is, I'm just thinking, I agree what Nodumo was saying to say maybe they are working on regionals, but at the same time, are the regionals working? So, like me, I'm 60 now, so which means if regionals are not working now, I don't know whether it's going to work in my lifetime.
I've read an article recently. They believe that someone on Earth right now will live to 200. That person could be 100 already. That person could be 5. So I don't, so
maybe with artificial intelligence.
But artificial intelligence can come up with a million ideas. I'm a big proponent of reparations. And I strongly dislike the excuse of how are we going to implement this. So when I do hear that, I always say, no, figure it out. You know, because another story that I've recently started to share, I can be a conspiracy theorist. But I said, if in this world, the coronavirus was real, it wasn't human implemented, it wasn't a pandemic, if it really happened that a virus came to the world and the world had to adjust, I think overall the world did well, you know, in all speaking, you know, maybe not perfect, but I think overall the world did well. So if we can, let's just say it wasn't a pandemic, it wasn't government, you know, China, the US had a plan or whatever, that this is how the world handled it, I think the world did well. So why other mathematical problems, you know, we can't figure out? Why different things like travel and certain other implementations we can't figure out if we can plan this well and coordinate? So I like to believe in the greater good, and I like to believe that as people, we are the smartest beings on this planet. And as far as we know in this universe, you know, as far as we know right now. So I like to think of the greater good. We have about 5 minutes left on the show. I do want to give everybody a brief second, but just before I give everybody their final words, is there anything that you don't think we touched on or you wanted to touch on that I didn't ask that you think the audience would love to know about Zimbabwe? Or I really appreciate our guests because I realized I was sitting here with great minds. And what I want our audience to kind of consider this past show, this current show that we're wrapping up, is that these are thinkers who are from Zimbabwe that we were able to talk to about a multitude of topics, even if it wasn't about Zimbabwe, the country itself. You know, and we have these minds in Ghana and all over the African continent. That's one reason that we can be proud to be African of African descent. But is there anything about Zimbabwe that we did not discuss that you think the audience may want to hear briefly?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
You didn't discuss about our beautiful Zimbabwe on the tourism side.
Yeah, I briefly mentioned Victoria Falls, but yes, in the Big Five. I did. But what about Zimbabwe tourism, you think?
Zimbabwe is great. It's got beautiful resort areas. And even, you know, the services top notch. That's what I can only say, you know, after traveling to even other parts of, you know, Africa, we have been, and I would say Zimbabwe, as much as even our economy could be done, but in terms of these tourist areas, they are really good, and it's very safe for people to go there.
Are you involved in tourism and hospitality?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But you know, in August I was in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yes, and as much as, you know, because I know sometimes the people, they think, oh, is it safe? Is it? But if I tell you, it's very safe. To go to Zimbabwe, even to go to, you know, all these resort areas. They've got very nice areas.
And Daughter was saying about nightlife. You were saying nightlife in Ghana and Zimbabwe is different.
It's more about the restaurants wise. I would say that's definitely one of the biggest differences. I think again, just nightlife in Africa generally, we're starting to kind of look at our Western counterparts and just kind of looking at what they're doing and just kind of trying to mimic that in Africa anyway. But in terms of Zimbabwe, obviously one of the biggest differences between Ghana and Zimbabwe is the lack of chop bars, and one of the biggest things, kind of the meeting and food, those are very integral parts of any gathering within the Zimbabwean culture. Whether it be meeting for a funeral, whether it be meeting just as a family, there's always this openness, and it's a genuine openness of come, let's eat, let's be merry, let's enjoy. Zimbabweans love a good time. We're here, I think that my cousins always say we're here for a short time, and you know, I'm here for a short time, not for a long time, so let me enjoy myself.
Great.
That's literally just the motto.
Great. Great. So we have a minute left. Any last words? Any quick last words?
come and visit Zimbabwe. Our doors are open. We can't wait to embrace you. We can't wait to share our beautiful land, our beautiful food, our culture, our music, everything. Come and enjoy.
Great. Any last words?
I would say Ghana, they've welcomed us and they look after us. They are, nice people in Ghana, very calm. Same as Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans as well, they are very calm, and we welcome Ghana. We've always welcomed Ghana to Zimbabwe. And I think we will continue having this peaceful relationship between the two countries.
Oh, great.
I love Ghana.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And also just to say thank you to Ghana for hosting me for 8 years.
Wow.
I think it's been a wonderful 8 years. I'm into my 9th year. I've had no problems. I feel at home, and I wouldn't be anywhere else but here. Thank you.
Great. Real quick, your social services, do you have operations in Ghana?
No, not in
Only
Ghana.
in the UK. Okay. Because I would have wanted you to share that information for anybody in Ghana who may have.
For Ghana, what we do have is a charity. It's called Heather's Epilepsy Foundation. So that's the one that we have started to work with individuals with epilepsy, young adults and adults. Providing terms of medication, trying to support with medical bills.
So give that information out for anybody who may want to know about Heather's.
You can reach us on our Instagram, Heather's Epilepsy Foundation, and I'll be able to share information. We are hoping to do a nice bigger launch next year, so I'll definitely be
next year's around the corner.
I know, definitely be inviting you and the rest of the Beats FM family to come over. And thank you for having us in, because it's my second time being here. I've enjoyed myself again.
Okay, one last thing, because the tech people are about to come in and say, Rashad, get off the air. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I wanted to invite the listeners to an artificial intelligence week
I'm coming.
of discussions starting tomorrow up to Friday.
Oh, wow, okay.
So you can check out our LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Association of African Universities.
Association of African Universities.
Yes, so you will see the flyer there, you'll see the registration link. If you think you want to learn more about AI, please.
I'm on her side. This
us.
is the two. IBM, be the final vote. AI or no AI? AI, okay. So AI has won. Yeah. Ladies, thank you so much. And you're welcome back again next year. We're in November, so next year might not be too far. And we'll talk more about Zimbabwe. I know that's feedback I'm going to get for today.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Make sure you tune in next week to Beats Africa. You'll hear from Miriam. 3 to 5 p.m. every Sunday, 92.7, 3 FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
Thank you.